It's Preacher, and we're looking at the Frost Mage, Mr. Warlords of Draenor. Mage is doing pretty fucking well, aren't they? Dominating, in fact. Oh yes, not looking too shabby at all. So no doubt many of you want to try them out. I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. This is a very cool class, very fun. Lots of mobility, lots of instant procs, lots of things to react to. It's an involved class. It's one of those things that you can play and have fun with all the damn time. And getting bored of it can happen. I'm feeling it a little bit now. But ultimately, for a bit of fun on an ult or something you want to play consistently, you'll have various options to do crazy AoE and, of course, go back to just doing rocking single target with procs and all sorts of stuff. Another good thing, they have a variety of talents to choose from. Lovely! You can pick and choose whatever you prefer. So, without further ado, let's get into it. What is our main goal as a Frost Mage? To do as much fucking damage as possible to kill that boss quicker than it can ever be killed, and of course not die, which is a great advantage of the Mage because we have a lot of utilities which allow us to bypass mechanics in certain ways and be very advantageous to bring as many mages as possible. You'll see raids stacking them for a little while indeed. So, further ado, level 15, something that allows you to movement speed. Okay, Ice Flows has got to be the only choice here. Really, you have 3 charges and it means you don't stop DPSing while you're moving. So making good use of Ice Flows will separate the men from the boys. Okay, be aware you can cast it mid-cast. Yes, a lot of people don't know that. They think you have to go Ice Flows and then you have to start moving. Not true. If you watch here, we'll cast that Frostbolt. If I cast a Frostbolt now and then click Ice Flows, I can continue to cast that Frostbolt while I'm moving. Mixed on top of that, of course, the old faithful Blink, and you can go wherever the hell you want to go. At level 30, everything that bypasses things like Alter Time. Alter Time is fantastic. It allows you to really get around some very nasty mechanics. Butcher Cleaves, all that kind of stuff. It returns you to your current location. You know you're about to be knocked back, all that kind of stuff. Very, very cool to actually be able to just instantly bypass that whenever you want to using Alter Time. Ice Barrier, I use it when I'm doing my 5-mans and all that kind of stuff because I generally have dots that people don't dispel. You've all been there, you know, the fucking healer's like, oh, there's a dot that does 1,000,000 damage. I might as well try and heal that 1,000,000 damage instead of dispelling it. Ice Barrier tends to counteract that some way. But Alter Time for raiding is generally the go-to. Returns you to full health and the current location. Magic. Level 45 doesn't fucking matter. Most people take Ring of Frost. Doesn't fucking matter. Pick whatever the hell you like. At level 60, you're going to be using mainly Greater Invis. You take 90% reduced damage. Again, mages are really good soakers. If you're not soaking something, though, Cauterize is fantastic, as is Cold Snap, giving you your wonderful fucking ice block back. So you can pick and choose here as well. It's all encounter dependent. Encounter dependent. At level 75, things get a little bit trickier here. Now, one thing that you should know is that they are extremely close to each other, in which case you can really pick and choose whatever you prefer. But, having said that, Frost Bomb, while able to control your Fingers of Frost procs, which gives you those wonderful ice lances, is far more valuable, especially when you're AoEing, yeah? Frost Bomb only does damage. Only does damage when you cast an Ice Lance at it. That means it is not a dot. This is not the Frost Bomb of old if you've played a mage in the past. It doesn't work that way. You do not put Frost Bomb up until you can guarantee that you can cast a lot of Ice Lances at it, yeah? You want at least 2. And that's the truth of the matter. While you're doing all this kind of shit, attack if you would, pet. I would like some procs. That would be nice. Go, go, go. Thank you. It's really worthwhile noting that you don't cast Frostbomb unless you can definitely cast Ice Lances on top of it. Just let it sit there. Let it sit there. As you can see, procs, not always a friend. Not always a friend of the mage. Ice Nova is my preferred one. Ice Nova is fantastic. Does great single target damage, does a little bit of AoE, and plus it's just not a pain in the ass. We can just cast it whenever the fuck we like, especially in 5-mans where we're going to be doing a lot of running around. What you'll find is sometimes your Ice Lances proc at the end of trash or blah, 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 blah. In a boss, it doesn't really matter. You can do whatever you want. You'll get plenty of procs throughout the fight, and therefore you're going to apply Frostbomb in that time. But Ice Nova is so damn close, and it doesn't have any restrictions, and it doesn't interrupt the flow of play, and therefore it wins. In my opinion, it's just great. It's absolutely fantastic. So bear that in mind when you choose them. But bear in mind, again, they're very close to each other. And if you use Frostbomb correctly to do AoE and stuff, you will get great benefits out of it. At level 90, Rune of Power is still a thing. Sad to say, Rune of Power is still a thing. If you do have a fight, pretty much like the Butcher, and you can stand still for the majority of the fight, you'll get more benefits from Rune of Power. Not many fights like that, thank God. So we have Mirror Images, which is an absolutely fantastic DPS cooldown. Drop it down, kick ass with it, take some names. Incanter's Flow, not really. Not really. It can depend sometimes on how long the fight is. Can you only get like... Is it like a 5.5 minute fight, in which case you nearly get a third Mirror Images, but don't quite, then Incanter's Flow kind of just pulls ahead? It's that kind of thinking you have to go into it, because they're pretty close. They're pretty damn close, so don't worry about it. Mirror Images is my generally go-to. A level 100. This saddens me. It really saddens me, because Prismatic Krystal is fantastic, and if you're raiding all the time on your mage, you're going to be taking Prismatic Krystal. If this is an ult, or something like that, or something that you just have a bit of fun with, and you go to maybe some LFRs or some random normal raids, and it's with randoms and pugs, Prismatic Krystal's just no good. And it really saddens me, because I can't recommend to you a place to practice with Prismatic Krystal other than a fucking dummy. And that's because no random tank in the world gives a shit about your Prismatic Krystal and will just run away from it. The second, it's almost if they think it's like something kind of dagger that's going to kill them or something. I've seen people stand in the dagger in Shadowmoon Burial Grounds, but run the fuck away from my Prismatic Krystal. And therefore, that kind of blows, because you need practice with a Prismatic Krystal. You're going to have to get yourself in front of the dummies. We'll talk about it in a sec. Thermal Void, though, I really like. I really like Thermal Void, and I really like Comet Storm. Comet Storm is a DPS loss, unfortunately, which is a bummer, because it's a ton of fun, and it looks fucking badass. But Thermal Void is amazing. In our pull, we have things like Water Jet, we have Frozen Orb, which means we extend the length of our Icy Veins pretty significantly. It runs for a really long time, and therefore, it's pretty cool. I like it. And you don't have to worry about it. Once you cast your Icy Veins and you go to town on the boss, it either works or it doesn't, but generally it's pretty good. If you're raiding, Prismatic Krystal is the way to go. It's pretty damn good. So about your glyphs. Icy Veins is the mandatory one. 30% multi-strike. This class just benefits so much from multi-strike, it's ridiculous. You think it would be all haste, but no, it's multi-strike. Get as much as you possibly can. You're going to be firing off lots of randoms, lots of instants, get them all multi-striking. Glyph of Splitting Ice will be your nightmare. Absolute nightmare, because it's a great DPS increase, but the mobs have to be tanked right next to each other. There is plenty of complaining on things like Twin Ogron that they look like they're close to each other because they're huge, and they're not. So you need to be like, tanks, move them closer. And when you drop your Prismatic Krystal, you need to make sure it's like exactly in the hitbox to make sure that the cleave Splitting Ice is actually doing something, yeah? You want to be making sure that if you take this, communicate with your tanks. Don't rage, communicate. Tell them what you want. And Glyph of Water Elemental allows it to cast while moving. It's when it's assist mode and in combat. It's just going to keep doing DPS. It increases the health, or it's not going to die. Not that it would anyway, really. But certainly you want it to be casting on the move. Right, let's talk about how you do damage with this motherfucker. Firstly, I can't stress this enough. Oh my god. Please do not leave Water Jet. Do not put Water Jet on its, like, automatically Water Jet. That is so scrubbish. That is Scrub Town. That is really dipping your bollocks inside the glue and then running them along the razor. Don't do that. Don't do that. Be a good player. You want to have key bindings for freeze and key bindings for Water Jet and something that tells you when it's off cooldown. They share a cooldown. You see this right here? That's my Water Jet. I can cast it whenever the hell I want it to do it, and then it disappears. Don't leave this on auto, because it can fuck you. It can fuck you by munching your Finger of Frost procs. When you have a Frozen Orb in the air, you're going to be generating a lot of Fingers of Frost. What you don't want to be doing is using a Water Jet at the same time, which guarantees the generation of Ice Lances, and it just won't happen because you've munched it. Because your Frozen Orb is generating them, yeah? All these kind of things. Sometimes there is ads. And sometimes there isn't ads, which means every time this comes off cooldown, you need to be thinking about what's best. Can I get away with a freeze here and get 2 charges of Ice Lance? That's pretty cool. I might want to do that. All these kind of things are what's going to play into your mind. You might want to freeze some ads sometimes. Please have this keybound, have some notification of some description that tells you you want this to happen. Okay? Which one do you want? Keybind it. Get it set up. Don't leave this thing on auto. If we're taking Prismatic Krystal, our pull is obviously very important. We want to churn as much shit into our Prismatic Krystal as possible, which means Frost Mages have a very specific way of doing things. Very specific way. One, like I've just mentioned, is not to Water Jet immediately. When your pull is counting down, you get your 5, 4, 3, you want to start casting your Frostbolt. It's a 0.8 second cast, or 1.2 for me. So when you're like 1 second down, you want to start casting your Frostbolt. Get that initial cast out of the way. That means you get 1 extra cast through the duration of a fight. You're doing more damage than the other guy. Absolutely amazing. As soon as that finishes and it fires off, get your mirror images, get your icy veins on, and then get your prismatic crystal down. Yeah? So you want to fire off. So we're going 3, 2, 1. Frostbolt, cooldowns, all the things. Then you drop your prismatic crystal, fire off your frozen orb, and then do things like ice nova, and look at all the procs going off. And you're channeling this into your prismatic crystal like an absolute boss. All good. And then when things start to slow down, water jet time, yeah? Nice and easy. Get that water jet going. Real easy stuff, guys. This is not difficult at all. Get those things done. And then, as soon as your prismatic crystal disappears, go back to DPSing your training dummy, your boss. It's real easy to do. Prismatic crystal, that's how you do things, yeah? Get that first frostbolt on the way. Get your mirror images and icy veins on the go. Get your crystal down. Channel in some ice novas while your frozen orb travels towards the boss. And then just start firing everything under the sun into that prismatic crystal while it's down, and then switch over to the boss. Watch the energy of your prismatic crystal. You'll see it wearing down. And when it's about to switch over to the boss so you don't lose a cast, because the prismatic crystal will disappear. Simple as that. When it comes down to thermal void, doesn't fucking matter. It does its job anyway. You don't need to worry about it. It's absolutely fine. With ice novas, try and keep them on cooldown. Obviously, it has a maximum of 2 charges, which means if it's sat at 2, you've lost a potential charge. You're sucking. Okay? You want to keep at least 0, right? If you have procs, keep an eye on your damage procs, trinket procs, all that kind of stuff. Use your ice novas then, but don't let it sit at 2, because that's a huge damage loss. Huge damage lost. Other than that, use your frozen orb and, of course, water jet on cooldown. If it's a boss that can't be frozen and you can't get more procs, just use your water jet on cooldown. But have it keybinded, have a notification so that you know when you're going to be getting those fingers of frost. So you know. Simple as that. The only alteration to that would be Frost Bomb. If you have Frost Bomb, just wait till you have 2 charges of Ice Lance, then cast your Frost Bomb so you get the maximum benefit out of it, okay? Really as simple as that. I wish Frost Bomb was better. I wish it did some detonation at the end so I could just say keep Frost Bomb up, but it just does not work that way, which is pretty sad. It just does not work that way. Alright, that's your Frost Mage. That's the basics. Let's get into a dungeon and see how all this shit plays out. Alright, guys? Check the gameplay video out, and I'll be talking about it as we run through a dungeon. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you again. Bye-bye.